The Nintendo Switch 2 just released this morning. I know a couple of influencers got it the previous day and probably, I guess, in Australia, technically yesterday. And of course, as a Smash Ultimate channel, I wanted to talk about the differences between Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 with Smash Ultimate. And if I think that the tournament standard going forward will be the Nintendo Switch 2, God, I hope for gaming generations that is not the case. Basically, just overall, the Nintendo Switch 2 is less laggy and just has more processing than the Nintendo Switch, right? So a lot of the things that are slower about the Nintendo Switch Smash Ultimate experience are going to be slightly better. I'm basically just going to go over everything that I found in terms of what can relate to Smash Ultimate in terms of the Nintendo Switch 2. So first off, it seems like colors load faster, which is obviously a minor annoyance in for a lot of people, and just the general load times are a lot faster between screens and all that jazz. One interesting thing actually is the fact that Squad Strike loads faster too, which technically nerfs Steve. Honestly, shoutouts to Little Mac Main KO. They've been posting a lot of videos, so let's just go over some of them. Look at how fast this game loads now. That is so fast, which it's kind of ridiculous, honestly. And then, of course, the game plays as usual. Let's look at the alternate costumes as well. So again, game loads much faster. That screen was a little bit the same, but they're instantly loading, which is cool because that was honestly a huge annoyance if you forgot how many things you clicked or what color your character was, especially if it's not your mains or something like that. And just generally, a lot of things are loading pretty quickly, right? So again, the victory screens are very fast as well, so that's pretty interesting. And again, as I mentioned, probably the biggest actual gameplay difference is with Squad Strike. So you can see, first off, it loads really quick, and then a lot of times when you play Squad Strike in normal games, it'll take forever to load. Actually, let me go look at a set for that. For example, when I get this kill on Sonics right here, you can literally see, I'm going to time it, actually. So when the blast zone hits, it's 6:38. And then about 3 seconds later, that is when the Mario spawns. By the way, I lost this set. I'm not trying to flex. It was just a set that I knew happened. But when we go here to watch this, look, it's 7:57, it kills, and then it comes in literally the next second. So it's basically just as fast as a normal respawn, which is kind of crazy. And again, technically that is a Steve nerf because Steve in Squad Strike is slightly buffed because of the extra times. Sometimes the load times can last literally 5 seconds. It's really bad sometimes. And Steve is just able to mine materials that entire time. So technically, Steve got nerfed in Smash Ultimate. Write it in the comments. We finally got a nerf. And again, just in general, how fast the loading is ridiculously quick. Haven't watched this video, but it sometimes takes 30 seconds for my Switch to load, and suddenly it's just super fast, which is kind of nice. Again, another quality of life thing. Let's just see how fast it is to get into everything. Because again, some of these load screens on Nintendo Switch can literally last 10 seconds or something like that. Even in the one-player mode with classic mode, things load faster. Yeah, again, so fast. That is normally not how it goes. Absolutely not. So the Nintendo Switch 2 definitely helping with some latency. Another interesting thing is the Nintendo Switch 2 GameCube controller actually plugs in as a normal GameCube controller. So the ZL button is non-functional, which is an interesting choice. I don't know why they would do that. But yeah. And again, here's another video of just it loading so fast. That is ridiculous. Sometimes that animation can take literally 10 seconds, and it happened so fast. I forget if I showed that one already, but that's just insane. And unfortunately, the Miis are a little bit bugged right now. A patch will be coming, but the Miis are actually not super working. If you connect a Nintendo Switch and a Nintendo Switch 2, two people with different systems that fight against each other. Let's read this article. For Smash Bros. Ultimate, an online match may end right away if a Switch 1 and a Switch 2 players start a match with one person using a Mii fighter. So it's advised to avoid using the character currently. Unfortunate because, I play 2 of the 3 Miis, so a little bit unlucky right now. So going on Elite Smash right now might be a little bit difficult. This is literally on the official Nintendo.com, the Japanese part of the website. In online play, when a Switch 2 player and a Switch player are matched, if one of them is using a Mii fighter, the match may end immediately, so don't use them. When creating or modifying a Mii fighter and saving it, the thumbnail image displaying the Mii fighter may not be generated correctly, but a fix is coming. So if you are a Mii player, especially if you were inspired by my Mii fights, don't worry, it will be fixed soon, but I'm still going to do it anyway, and if it DCs, then it DCs. However, according to a lot of accounts, the lag in the game, or like the innate lag that the Nintendo Switch has, like in terms of the delay, is still in the game. That is still going to be the same. There have been, I guess, conflicting reports of like if there's a frame or two different because of the V-Sync or just the faster, processing times. But I really don't think that the Nintendo Switch 2 will become the standard, even if that is the case. Like, obviously people can practice on it, but I feel like there are so many different aspects to supplying the Switch 2 for tournaments that, like, maybe at locals and stuff, but like for majors, I think it will still probably primarily be played on the Switch 1 for, the foreseeable future. I've seen that people can talk about Fountain of Dreams being a potential legal stage, but also they fixed that stage a while ago, so I don't know why that wouldn't have already happened if it was going to happen. Like, Fountain of Dreams is fine, except maybe in like doubles, but you can obviously ban a stage in doubles and not in singles, even if it's like Wario or Double Ice Climbers or whatever. Like, that is totally fine. There's no issue with it anymore. So unfortunately, Smash Ultimate will feel the same to basically everyone, except again, the load times, which, make a noticeable difference, but I don't think it is worth, if you are like a Smash only player, I don't think it is worth getting a Nintendo Switch 2 at this point. I don't have one currently. That is part of the reason why. It's because mostly, like, I'm either playing single player games that don't really matter for an upgrade like Celeste or Deltarune. That was really good, by the way. I already played that fully. But like for Smash, it's not going to be that big of a deal at the moment. So if you are looking to if you are thinking, hey, do I want the Nintendo Switch 2 if I am a Smash Ultimate specific player? Is it going to make a significant difference? I don't necessarily think so. And hey, I could be wrong. There might be more information that comes out that it's actually better, and blah, like there could be more information that comes out with more specific testing, because again, the Switch 2 has been out for how many hours now? Not a lot. So again, shout outs to Little Mac Main KO for posting all those videos. It does show like how fast it is to load at the very least. But yeah, let me know down in the comments down below if you have a Nintendo Switch 2. I would appreciate it. As always, social media and partner stuff is down below. Subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.